Hello, everybody, and welcome to the World Changing Podcast. This is Jordan Rosario, and today we are going to be looking at the third and final trade that I took this past Friday on March 10th of 2023. And this was right after I went ahead and have completed my second trade of the day. So if you've not checked out trade one and trade two, of the same day, I recommend checking those out just to get some tips on how to go ahead and manage your trades, or an example of how I would go ahead and manage my trades, at least to start off my session. So we come to our last trade of the day. And so I went ahead and I took this particular trade right here. Now, this started at this particular candle right here, as we can see, the one that I've got my cursor on. And we started, right, with an entry. So I started with an entry of 1839.74. So I go ahead and I place my entry right there. And so we started right over here. And as far as our next points, we have to go ahead and we want to make sure we establish the stop loss. Now, the stop loss, I went ahead and I made sure was around this particular area right over here. So, of course, I want to make sure that it's just a little bit below this particular swing low right there. So, if I go ahead and I go put up my handy dandy position lot size calculator, put in 1839.74 right there. And my stop loss would be, believe it was around 850. I'm not too sure. Just want to make sure that is indeed correct. Yes, okay, because if I put that at 800, let me see. Yep, I wouldn't have been too comfortable with that because it was very close to the bottom end of this or these two particular candles right here. So I would have gone ahead and put that at 850. And then from there, because I'll be looking for a 7-to-1 risk to reward ratio, what I would do is I would grab my calculator right here because, because who needs to do complicated math just in your brain? Doesn't make any sense with that. With the tools that we have, we should definitely make, we should make calculations a lot easier. So 850 times 7 right here, that's going to give us about 5,950 points. So that's where I would put my take profit right there. Boom. And so just take a look right here. So I would have gone ahead and my point would have been right there. So let us go ahead and just identify that. Oh, 1839.74. Let's make sure we do that for the entry right there. All right, perfect. And then again, my green line is going to be 1899.24. Okay. So, we also want to go ahead and make sure that we place our break even line right over here. So 850, and that would be at 1848.24. We'll mark that as a orange line. So again, a lot of what we want to do when we first approach our trades is we have to identify four things. What's our entry point? What's our stop loss line? When we're out of the trade completely with a loss, if needed. What is going to be our home run line? So what is going to be our line that we just go ahead and we close out the trade? That's identified by my green line. And what is our break even point line, which would go ahead and allow then our stop loss to then get to at least first the entry point, so it's a zero risk free trade, and then we keep going on from there, as I'll explain as we review this trade. So let's take a look. So again, we are at this particular candle right here at about 1531, and so we go ahead and it goes down just a little bit for us. We go down, and then we ultimately are still battling this particular entry right over here. We're battling our entry point line right here. And then ultimately we come up. So as we go, excuse me. Oh, I have no idea what it's. Hold on. Give me 1 second right here. 1839.74. Stay right there, please. All right, let's get rid of this. All right. So as we keep going, Oh. Oh, what happened to our thing? Hold on. 1839.74. Thankfully I have everything calculated in my head. And then we had about an 850 point stop loss. Now, granted, in this situation, right? In this situation, this is a bit of a more aggressive trade. So, as you go along, you'll have to dictate which is a bit more, what is your risk tolerance? How particular are you with your risk tolerance? And whether you be able to go ahead and accept trades like this, because while as we could see, we are starting to easily get out of the woods in this trade. Ultimately, I would have had to accept if price came over here that I've had to have taken that particular amount of a loss right there. So I would definitely consider this an aggressive trade on my part. And so as we go ahead and as we continue, we see that we are above our entry point right here. We retest the entry and then we keep going up and up and up and up. And so we ultimately get now to my first break even line. So what I would do from this point is I would move my stop loss line to my entry line. So that's 1839.74 right there. All right, so now we're in a zero risk free trade. Then I would move the first break even line, the 1848.24. And I would go ahead and I would place that at 850 points because now the break even line moves from 1R to 2R of our. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Give me a second. There we go. So we got to move that up a little bit. So we want to make sure that is moved up to 1856.74. All right, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we keep on going. As we keep on going up and up and up, as we can see, price continues to move up during this day. And ultimately, we get to our second ratio. We get to the point where the trade is now at 2R. So when this happens, I immediately am moving my stop loss now. We're going to trail that up, and that is going to be based on 40% of my stop loss. So what do I mean by that? So if I go ahead and pull up my calculator again, I'm going to do 850. I'm going to divide that by 100. Then I'm going to times that by 40. We could see that 40% of 850 is 340 points. By doing that particular calculation. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at now my stop loss line, which we have identified as now being at my entry point. So now this trade was at break even. That was a stop loss. That was the worst that was going to happen with this trade. Now we've gone ahead and if we've increased that, we'll increase that particular line now to 340. Oh, do that. Boom. Dang it. I was supposed to do it the other way. Give me 1 second. Okay. So move that up now to about 340. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this line now. I'm going to take that line. And now that's going to be at 1843.14. Right? So I move that up. Now our trade at the worst is going to go ahead and allow us to get some profit. That is the worst case scenario on this particular trade. So now I also moved to 1856.74. So now we're in 2R. Now I need to go ahead and I need to move that up to about 3R now. So that's another 850 points right there. And that would be at 1865.24. 1865.24. Okay. Now we keep on going. As you could see, our stop loss line is above the entry line, which again confirms that the worst that's going to happen is we're going to win this trade with a little bit of profit. That's the absolute worst that would happen in this situation. So we keep on going. We keep on going. Okay. So now we are at the 3R point. So now I go back to my stop loss. And it's now at 1843.14. And again, we just determined that 40% of 850 points is 340 points. So I would put that at 340. Boom. So now I'm moving that to 1846.54. 1846.54. So again, Again, I will remind everybody, worst case scenario with this trade, whatever happens to it, is that I'm leaving this trade with profit. That is the number one thing we want to make sure we're doing. And then so from here, I go back to my stop entry right over here. I'm sorry, go back to my 3R line, and now I'm moving that to 4R. So what that looks to us is we're just going to move this guy up now another 850 points up to about 1873.74. All right, boom. So again, we're continuing to go ahead and we're moving along. We get a little bit of a dip right here. We're still not at the stop loss line, so the trade continues to go. So the trade keeps on going. It keeps on continuing, and then we ultimately get to. Actually, give me 1 second right here. Give me 1 second. I might be fibbing. I am fibbing. Okay. So we get up to this. So we do get up to at least 3R, right? And then that would be 4R up top right there. And then ultimately, what I like to do with my trades is that this would be the 9 o'clock hour for me. Any open trades that I'm at during the 9 o'clock hour, I automatically close because, well, I don't want, there's not going to be a lot of more, at least for me, I'm not going to watch the chart past that. So I go ahead and I close it out. As we could see right here, this was definitely a big win for us. I was able to essentially almost make 3 times the amount that I risked in profit. So I made about, I would say 2.5R, so 2.5 times the risk. So that would be a very excellent win for us. So it's the last trade that I did on Friday. I will be sure to cover the trades that I did on Monday the 13th. But before we do that, everybody, I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day. Be great, be favored, and be the person that you desire and that you're destined to become. Thank you.